of making decisions. And of course, if you do something that you know that you're going to regret before you make it, don't do it. But if you have a decision which you don't really know whether or not you're going to have any regrets, try to go through that mistake and learn from it. Like if you were to like buy a house and like go into like a lot of debt or something, you don't know whether or not you'd regret that in the future. So making those mistakes is how you learn.
Okay. Now you're allowed to make mistakes because, as you said, that's a part of living. Just know that you've got your mom and your dad as well to help guide you as you're like growing up and learning. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Welcome to Wednesday night chats with Daz. I am your host, King Smith, and we rocking slow tonight. I don't have a guest tonight as he had to reschedule, which is cool. He was actually doing some dad things. He had his son this week, and his son has football practice. I think his son is starting high school as well, but I'm going to bring him back on in a couple of weeks from now when he can make it. So I'm going to be rocking solo. Now, I am going to be doing some things a little bit different. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but if anybody is inclined to want to join onto the live stream, I included the link into the description that you can see from YouTube and Facebook. You won't be able to see it from Twitter or Twitch. So if you're on those platforms and you want to come in and contribute to this conversation, go to my YouTube channel, The Actual King Smith, and click on the link that you see in the description to be able to join my Restream channel. So, what I'm going to talk about today is the fact that I have a daughter that's about to go to high school, and she is my only kid, my only child, the only one that I wanted. I've shared in past conversations that I didn't really want a large family, and time changes. And if I'm being honest, I can't say for certain that I've told my now ex-wife that I only wanted one kid, but I did know at the time that I only wanted, a small family. I'm the oldest of four, and I've always kind of had a sense of how children are lovable liabilities. There is no other way of saying that, and I didn't coin that phrase or that term. I heard it from somewhere else. I mean, from the time that you find out that you're about to be a parent until, you're no longer a parent or breathing on this earth, basically, your kids are kid liability. I'm a liability to my parents. I mean, they've helped me out when I've been in a bind. And I mean, that's exactly what family's for. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say that that's exactly what they're for, but it's nice to be able to have a supportive family that, as you kind of come across things in life and challenges and stuff, you're able to go to them, for guidance. Growing up, my dad was a truck driver, and he was over the road for the most part. After he served his time in the army, when he got out, I was extremely young. So a lot of the lessons that he tried to tell me came in the form of lessons from the church that we were in versus, things that I would have liked to had heard as a young man on how to navigate things as a young guy. You know what I'm saying? I've told my dad this, so this isn't new to him if he watches my channel, that I didn't necessarily get that from him. He always wanted to tell me that the Bible said this and that. And I'm like, this ain't, BC2. This is the year 1990 or early 2000s, man. Like, I need to kind of know things from the now perspective, man, not from the Bible perspective. That's me. That's kind of how I operated and how I grew up. And it's, formed the type of person that I am today. My daughter's about to go to high school. She is not in a household where both her mother and her father live in the same household. We are cordial. I will say that I do not consider her mother a friend. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just, I don't I don't say this. I respect her as the mother of, our child. That's as far as it goes for me. Don't contact me if something's going on. You've got family for that. That's how I feel. Unless it has something to do with our daughter, I really don't care. And I've said that to some people, right? I've said that to some people, and they've said that, well, shouldn't your mother's well being also be something that you should care about? Because, if she's doing good, then her health and things, can be seen and stuff by y'all's kid. And to that, I shrug my shoulders. I say, well, to an extent, right? I believe that kind of goes to an extent. But that's how I operate. Um, I have some fears about our daughter going to high school. You know, uh, for example, in one of my prior episodes on Chats with Dads, I had a discussion with a guy who has two daughters and one who just graduated college. There's actually a few of my peers and people that I keep up with through social media that have young kids in college now, young daughters as well. And kind of a baseline thing is one of the things that they've said is that, they're going to uh, make mistakes and choices in life. And those that I see that are well adjusted uh, have parents that are in their life that can guide them. And that is really what I hope to do. I played a video at the very beginning of this. If you're late to join the live stream, where I had a conversation with my daughter about making decisions and choices. And there are people out there in this world right now that just don't make good choices. I wasn't the best decision maker growing up. I'll admit that. I wish that I could have both my mom and my dad kind of come on and talk about some of the stupid stuff that I did as a teenager. I didn't make choices that sent me to jail or things that would, have me not be a productive member of society. But I mean, I did make a couple of bad choices. I'm going to share this video that a friend of mine sent me of a 20-year-old. Somebody that's 20 years old that's walking in with her mother. Her mother doesn't look that much older than her, actually. And I'm only going to play the first 30 seconds of it and then kind of talk about what happened and then give my perspective and my reason on if I have a child that makes this kind of mistake or choice, then I failed as her father. I failed. So I'm going to play this clip and then I'm going to pause it. And I can't play the whole thing because it's 20 minutes long and, I don't want to get a copyright strike or anything like that. And then I'm going to fast forward to the end where they talk about the decision and just kind of watch the parent and how she talked about what happens. All right. That's a show called The People's Court, right? And it's a court that is very entertaining. If you watch several episodes of it, you'll see some wild accusations and things of people. As far as I know, like that show is real life. Like these are real people going to court to get some type of judgment. Now, in that episode that I showed you was a young 20-year-old and her mother. Her mother was the one who walked in with it. They talked about that. That guy she met was a guy that she met on Tinder. All right. I've been on Tinder. I've been on Bumble. Been on all the online dating, all the online dating stuff, right? And met some really cool people, some folks that I am still tight with to this day. But ultimately, I've talked in some of my other YouTube episodes that I've just got off the online dating sites completely because it's the wild, wild west out there. But this young lady meets a person on Tinder, all right? And as you progress through the episode, she invites him over to her house and she lives on her own. It doesn't say if it's a house or an apartment or whatnot, but good for her. She has her own place at 20, All right. She's working. When the guy is over there, she's flashing like $3,000 or something around for this guy to see. He sees that and he's like, well, I got this going on and I'm behind on child support and all this and that. It'd be nice if you could help me out. And her being a nice girl, because as you play through the video, she's just very young minded. All right. But then uh, he makes the claim to where he's pseudo kind of asking her for help. She gives him money. No, she doesn't give him money. She leaves to go get something to eat. When she comes back, he's gone with the cash. She's trying to call him, all this and that. She gets his mom involved. She gets the cops involved, and eventually, the cops got some of the money back, but not all of it. And he was trying to claim that, well, she said that I could get it. And it was a whole lot of back and forth. And the judge did a very fantastic job of holding both of them accountable, And the part that I want to highlight to this is, how are you going to take and be flashing this money to a dude who you've only known for 3 weeks or so? That part made no sense. It is like common sense 101 to me, and I had to scratch my head on that. And I told myself, with her mom sitting right there too, how could you let someone that you raised think that that's okay? It made no sense to me. Now I'm going to fast forward to the end. The judge awarded the plaintiff for the amount of, I think, $1,400, which was the total that he was owed, the total that she was owed that she claimed was missing. And I'm going to play the last part and listen to the way that the mom talks as well. Bring this. And I like how they wrapped up everything right there at the end. All right. It just, it's hard for me to understand when you make certain decisions, how that's just considered okay, and how the mom was just absolutely cool with that. All right. So I wanted to share that case to talk about how, Castle, that's my daughter, she's about to come into high school, and high school is when things kind of get real. That's when you start understanding a lot more about yourself. That is when you start to kind of realize who you like, your body's changing a lot, and that's for both guys and girls. And you really try to find your way into becoming an adult. We kind of got behind because of the pandemic this last, 2 school years, or a school year and a half, basically. So my daughter missed her 8th grade year, where she would have been, kind of top dog, if you will, and getting that socialization and stuff with being in in-person school. All right. So we're starting this 2021-2022 school year. Most schools around the country, from what I can see, are about to be back in school in person. There's already been one issue of a family member who, on day number 1, they had an incident of an outbreak, to where my aunt had to go get her son from school. And because somebody tested positive in his classroom, they have to quarantine for 14 days. And I don't know if they're doing online school where they're at. I'm not exactly sure of the specifics because it's a different state. All right. But this is kind of what we're about to go back into the school year now with as well. They're going to have to wear masks, from what I can tell. And it's just going to be different. It's a whole different experience from when I went to school. So, and it's a different generation. So it's like, how can I help her navigate those challenges as she's going through her freshman year? We've got that. We've got the fact that while I do live 5 minutes around the corner, when she gets out of school and goes home, she goes to her mom's house. So I'd have to call to ask her about her day and, see if there's anything that uh, I can help guide her on. You know, they get a lot of their school assignments and stuff through this application called Schoology, which is fantastic because it allows me to understand the work that's going on. The teachers put comments in there. You can ask about assignments that are due because you can see them as the parent. And it's fantastic for me as a father that doesn't live with his daughter, right? It allows me to be in the know, if you will, so that if I can help her on something, I'll at least have an idea of what it is. And we've had some people on some previous chats with dads episodes where they talked about how they had to Google to figure out what the hell they were trying to help their kid with. I looked at her schedule this year. She's got advanced algebra, honors English, and a bunch of other stuff that I'm like, I hope she gets this in high school because as a guy that is one credit or one class shy away from his MBA, I might be like, let me see what I can do and get back to you with trying to help this. That's what like that's the type of stuff that I'm thinking about. Her mom is there. Her mom is a lot more academically better than I was growing up and now. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that it doesn't just rest on my shoulders to figure out how I can help her if she needs some help, in school. I was trying to remember when I was thinking about this episode if ninth grade is when like you start to really catch feelings for other people. I'll admit I'm not ready to navigate the emotions of relationships, especially the emotions of relationships from a young woman. I'm just not. I asked if it was okay to bring this up, but she's, going through the cycle. I guess that's the best way to say it. And she gets really bad cramps. All right. And she was with me this past week when it happened, when it came on, and she gets upset. She looks sad, cries sometime. And I have the stupidest look on my face sometimes because I just know how I look. I'm like, you okay? Anything I can do to help you out? There's really nothing that I could do besides, help get her some water or something or a heat pad so that she can relax and get through it the best way that she can. But when she's going through it, and I'd be like, hey, I wish that this wasn't the case. When she gets her heart broken, that shit's gonna suck. Cause for me, I know how young folks are. I know how young people are. I was a young person myself. And, as she kind of learns and goes through that, man, and I'm gonna have to sit back and watch and, help guide. It is going to be an experience for me as well, as a dad. This is the stuff that I think about. One of my previous chats with dad, we talked about finances. And when you kind of talk about finances with your kids, I know for me, I didn't really get the finance talk until about my senior year. And I didn't really get a practical type of application on it, as far as, hey, this is your job, this is your income. The way that it was always told to me is like, when you get to become an adult, you're going to have these bills. All we heard of was bills. Damn it, do you have bills? But she's, not old enough to work now, trying to, and I'm also not a believer you have to go get a 9 to 5 or anything like that. But we're a world that runs on currency. So I'm trying to at least help instill some type of work ethic for her so that she can understand and develop something that she can take and then sell in the form of a skill. All right. I don't know what that is. I know she's fantastic in art, and I've helped her develop that in any way that I can by, having her attend some type of, class or course purchasing her supplies, encouraging her to do things and get better with it. But the business side of me, all right, and the dad side of me that wants to, help her take that skill and monetize it is also like, hey, we need to figure out a way so that you can take what you like to do and generate some type of income from it, right? Because that would be the ultimate thing that I think everybody would like to do. And I spent this summer talking to her about that and trying to explain the way that like the economy works. I don't know if our conversations and the stuff that I showed her helped. I'm going to have touch points with her throughout this year to see, what she's learned. So finances are one of the things that as she kind of comes into her freshman year of high school, I want to help kind of drill and make that a bigger point in her development. I made a point to talk about the changes that she's going to have with her body. And to be honest, I don't have a lot to go with that. What I want her to know and what I tell her all the time is it's not her that I'm worried about. It's other people and how they react and what they're going to say and attempt to try and do. All right. It would be my goal, my hope that she will not fall into peer pressure, not see what other people are doing and feel like she has to do that just because other people are doing it. I'm not sure I was somebody that was that way. I need somebody that knows me to, tell me that. Was I somebody that had to be doing what other people were doing just because they were doing it? I'll tell you, I joined and played football because I saw that, or in my head, in my opinion, this big old dome of mine, I saw that the football players got girls. So I wanted to get a jersey so that I could play football, get a jersey, and get the girls. Stupid, right? But this is the way that young folks think. So I'm hoping that as she starts to grow into her body, she has a good understanding of, how to love herself, not care what anybody else think, and live her life. One of the other things that I made a note to talk about is haters. She's going to be a freshman in high school, quote unquote, bottom of the food chain, if you will. And from what I can tell, she's liked and respected because she treats other people well. I don't think you'll find anybody that will say that my daughter, isn't one of the mean girls, if you will. And from what I can tell, she doesn't really like to be around people who are that way. She has had some friends that are no longer friends because of how they treat other people. And I love that. There's a difference in telling jokes and cracking on your boys or the people in your circle because they know you versus just being mean and picking on somebody because they can't defend themselves. All right. Never. I don't believe that I've been somebody that has picked on somebody just because I knew that they couldn't defend themselves. I wasn't raised that way. But I can recall some times when I was younger that, I've had some people step up, challenge me. And some of those times when I wasn't sure if I was going to win that fight, I didn't say anything. I remember one specific time in fifth grade, my female cousin stood up for me. And I was just like, now that's fifth grade. And I still remember that. Anyway, it is my hope that when she gets in high school, she can learn to still navigate the haters and not let that get to her and go on and like live her life. All right. So the final thing that I wanted to cover on this live stream And this is something that some people know about both me and my daughter, actually, is that we have a speech impediment. We stutter, all right? When I was in elementary school, I went to speech therapy up until about, I think, fourth grade. And that was because the school that I went to didn't offer it. There are people in my adult life and folks that I went to school with that don't know that I have a speech impediment. And for a while, my fluency, all right, and that's like how well you talk, how you're able to get from point A to point B without a stammer or anything. For the longest time, my fluency was decent. Or I would use substitute words to just try to get through the conversation. When I joined the military, it went away, but then kind of came back, and it's always just kind of been there. All right. My stuttering isn't hereditary as far as I know. I have to go back and really like look at the data for that. But in my family, my grandmother on my dad's side of the family had a speech impediment. One of my aunts on my mom's side of the family had a speech impediment. I can't think of any guys that did, at least not off the top of my head, outside of me. But my daughter does too. We noticed it around about the time that she was ooh, 6. And it's one of the things that I'm concerned with. And it is something that I hope that she doesn't get picked on for. And I'm going to pause this story here. Because I have somebody who's a dad who I've had on once before who clicked on the link and is joining in. So I'm going to bring him on. Mike, what's going on, brother?
Hi. I saw you were live and I just wanted to be nosy.
Hey, man, it's good to be nosy. It is good to know that there are people out there in the internet that is listening to me ramble on and talk. So I appreciate you clicking on the link and joining in, my man.
Just wanted to see. I wanted to see if this is the real deal, man. Wanted to see if I got rickrolled. You know, if I click on the link and it's like, never gonna give you. And by the way, you can't tilt the camera down a little bit. You got a lot of ceiling there, bud.
Man, all right. If I tilt the camera down, I'm gonna have to roll the green screen up because my bed is literally behind me,
All right.
and it is an unmade bed. I can do it. Let me see if I can.
That's better, much better. It was like chin here and head and then all ceiling. But
You mean
what's
tell
up,
me
man?
you mean tell me that this dome didn't cover up the whole camera?
Fortunately, not most of it, not all of it, though.
Yeah, man. No, I'm online live today. I don't have a guest, but I just kind of wanted to give some points or some things that I've been thinking about as my daughter is about to make this transition into high school. I'm not anxious. I don't know if I'm anxious, but I am nervous right now.
I believe it. I understand.
And I'm just getting through it. One of the last things that I'm talking about, or that I have on my notes, is I have a daughter that stutters. I have a girl that stutters. And when I went to school, I don't think I knew of a female that stuttered. And it's rare for women to stutter statistically. I think it's way less of women or ladies that stutter than men. I'd have to go back and look that up, but I'm a part of different groups that have people that stutter, and unless they just don't come out to the groups, it is more guys than females. And I'm a little bit nervous about that. When my daughter was in middle school, she didn't let it bother her. When we noticed it, it was very prominent, but she didn't let it bother her. And her close circle, they're friends with her because of who she is, right?
Right.
But she had this whole last year in the pandemic, not a whole lot of chances to, speak in front of the classroom, so to speak. And now she's about to go into the classroom in high school. And I'm just like, I don't know, that kind of makes me nervous for her.
Can I speak candidly here?
Yeah,
Is
man.
that allowed? I
Yeah,
think we
this is my
know each
show.
other. We know each other rather well. We spent, I don't know, the last what, 8 years, more or less, around each other. Um, it took a long time for myself, and I know a few of our friends, to even notice that you considered yourself to have a speech impediment. I still like don't even go like, well, you have a speech impediment, because it's not something I really even notice. But B, I think I really do, and I know we've had this conversation. I feel that it's improportionately blown up in your mind. Now, not to say that you don't, because I've seen it. It is a thing that exists. But you ever have like where you're like, oh man, like I don't know, this pimple is massive. It's like covering my face. And it's like a little red dot for everybody else. You know what I mean? Like it's
Mm,
one of those things where in our own heads we blow it up bigger than it is. I've spent plenty of time around your daughter, and I've had many conversations with your daughter. And if I'm being 100% honest, I've noticed it with you in our conversations occasionally, a sprinkling in our many conversations, and with your daughter almost imperceptibly so. I've rarely, if ever. And I remember even one time you were like, "Well, okay, you see how she said the thing, and she hesitated for a second, like that. That's what I'm talking about." And I'm like, I could not like even knowing you pointing it out. I was like, I to me that's just hesitating. So not this. I'm not trying to downplay that. It's not something you deal with, and it's not something your daughter deals with. I just want to, I guess, trying to be a little more encouraging that I don't think it's something that is going to be so prevalent that something like Tourette's, where my God, you can't hide this. It is on display for everyone, versus something that, like, again, I even asked my wife. I said, "Hey, do you ever notice that King maybe like stutters here and there, or does this or does that?" She doesn't notice. So many people around you won't notice. Whatever you want to call it, like if it's blinders, or it's the hidden disorder, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I'm not an expert. But I like, for especially for your daughter, she's so sweet. She's so loving. She's so friendly that, I mean, it would have, like, I can't imagine the kind of horrible person that would have to like pick on her, or like, oh, you love being nice and sweet to people? What a nerd. Like what kind of horrible person would that be? Not to say that there aren't bullies out there. It's a real thing. It's bad in a lot of places. But I'm sure as a father, I'm worried about my son all the time, and obviously he's much younger than your daughter. But like, I always worry about him. Every little
mhm.
thing, like, is he reading the right thing? Is he playing with the right thing? Is he spending too much time on his tablet? Is all these different things? So I can 100% empathize that the concern would be like, oh, she's different in this way, and I'm worried that that will make her stand out, and that will make her get singled out, or that will make her get picked on, all those things. But just man to man, I really don't think that you have cause for concern. You know what I mean? It's different if your daughter had Tourette's. I'd be like, hey, it's gonna be tough. I think I can tell you plainly and man to man, like, hey, your friend, this is gonna be tough. This is gonna be a tough, but or she had three arms or something. You know what I mean? Where it's like, but I really do think she's such a good kid, and you've done a great job raising your daughter, and I can't, yeah, I can't see where it would. Not to say that she won't face just people
I can,
being bad, but yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, dude, I can hope. I can only hope. We've had some just example in the last couple of weeks. I try not to, whenever we would go out to eat or something, I make her do it. I make her place the order. And there have been times where she knows what she wants to say, and she cannot get the word out. And I can see it. And it takes a lot for me to go, no, she has techniques because she's in speech therapy. She has speech therapy every Tuesday online because of COVID with the therapist. And it takes everything in me knowing what she's going through to not step in and give her the assist, because there are the times that
You're
we
not always going to be
appreciate
around.
the assist to come in, all right. But then there
Yeah.
are the times that it's frustrating when the assist comes because you're like, hey, understand that I do have a speech impediment, but I would rather get it out and say it. And then yeah, too, just kind of like what you just said, I'm not always going to be around, you know. Um, and I had to take a step back because I would notice she would tell me the order because she didn't want to say it because of her being afraid of her stuttering and how it might be perceived or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, and it goes to show you, I don't think we ever know what other people are dealing with, because I would have never assumed it was something she struggled with. Whether I don't want to say whether she had it or didn't have it, but the fact that let's say we agree that this is something she struggles with, it's never been apparent to me. But again, and you're not with her every day, you don't know what the things she deals with. Um, so yeah, I think that it's great that you can be there for her, and obviously you have your experience and you know what it's like, maybe not for a female, but you understand living with it, and what she does to cope with it, and you're doing an incredible job to support her through that. I get it. I totally get it, because with my son, I'm doing the same thing. He's younger, but trying to, like, okay, we can't always do, I'm not going to be spoon feeding you your whole life. Like, all right, it's time to pick up that spoon, and you gotta tackle that head on. And he has things that are difficult for him, but we gotta keep trying. He's potty trained, but he doesn't wipe his own ass. So we gotta practice. And it gets messy. Literally, it gets messy. But
I can't go back to that, man. I can't do that again. I have somebody, and I'm going to call her out publicly. Shout out to Quinita. Me and her graduated high school together. She is about to have another one, and we're the same age. And I'm just like, whoo, more power to you, classmate, because what you're going through with potty training and all, you can't do that again.
mm, God bless. God bless. No, I like I said, I really do give it up to you, man, for what you've done. I know you haven't had the easiest road, and everything you've been with, and kudos to you for putting it on a platform that you share with people. Obviously, I do a show. My show's very silly. It's very I don't want to say non-genuine, because it is genuine. It comes from a heart of passion for pop culture and things, but you put your life out there for people, and good or bad, you accept who you are, which I respect the hell out of you for it. You don't try to hide it and pretend to be something you're not. You stick to your guns. Frustratingly so. You stick to your guns. And I've told my wife many times, I said, look, I respect, I will disagree with you constantly. I will pester you and make fun of you and all these things, but I do have a lot of respect for that. You do stick to your guns. You are who you say you are. You can take criticism, you can take feedback. You are collaborative, and I think it's so cool, man, that you do this, and put this stuff out there for people that are single dads, that are divorcees, that are struggling, that are whatever, living life, or whatever it is, paycheck to paycheck, or not where you want to be, but striving to get where you want to be. All these things that so many people can benefit from, and regardless of the size of the audience, putting it out there and having it there for those people, because you don't know the impact you can make on that one life. And okay, maybe you don't become the next great YouTube star or the next billionaire cryptocurrency guy, but you change that one life, and you might not even know about it. But you change that one life, that you turn that one guy's life around, that one girl's life around, that one person's life around. And it is something that I've been fortunate to have been told in my life that, like, man, if it wasn't for you, oh man, my life, I don't know where I'd be right now. And it's such an honor, and it's such a privilege, and I'm so happy that you get to do that for untold amount of people. So it's just, I want to say that I'm very happy to be your friend, and it's been an honor, sir.
Awesome, man. Thank you for that. That was that was a lot, and that was good to hear. Because I've had conversation with you where I'm like, don't care if nobody watches. They say I don't care. I do care,
You
but I
want it.
don't do it for the views, man. This is not an easy thing to do to just get up and just open up and try to be as authentic as you can, because I think that people can see that. I think people can see authenticity. You can fake it up to a certain point, but I think people can read authenticity over time or whatnot. So I'm just hoping that I can be authentic. This is something that, God forbid something happens, man. There was a comedian that I follow, a guy by the name of Tony Baker, got tickets to his show in November. This past weekend, his son died. He talks about his son all the time. He has two adult boys. The one that passed away from a car accident was 20 or 21. And he even has a podcast called Daddy Issues, where it's him and three other comedians. They talk about things from a comedic standpoint, but the majority of the subjects are about their lives as dads. And I follow Tony Baker because I find him funny, but also the fact that this dude opens up and shares what he's going through. This guy's grieving right now. And because he's a social media person, he's also grieving, showing it. I didn't say he's a social media person, but he's showing it publicly. He's showing the good parts that, he's going through, love. But also the outpouring of love and the support for the people that, are showing him love through the death of his kid and two of his kids' friends, and one person that is still in the hospital right now over a car accident where two other cars were racing and they were involved, as far as like getting hit or something. Like the details of what happened fully aren't out there, but this guy lost this, kid. I said all of that to say, and I bring this up, let's say something happens to me, man. I don't know. Life happens, right? Boom. This dude was happy one day and then lost his son the next. My daughter can come to YouTube, all right? And she can hear me talk about her, when she frustrates me, because it's going to happen. I am probably going to talk about it and share it with the world. I've told her this. Yeah. I've told her, I said, hey, for as long as I do my YouTube and I'm on here, I'm going to talk about you. So don't do nothing stupid. You know how I talk. That is how I said that to her.
Our lives are now public. Public domain.
And, who knows, man, if something tragic happens, she can come back to this and have a memory of her dad. The second thing to kind of add to that, and this is something that I just thought about recently, I have a homeboy who passed away from a accident when he was serving in the Air Force. It was him and two other flight crew members. Right. That shit still hits me to this day. All right. And his wife and daughter, I try to keep in contact, the best way that I can, but his daughter was very young when, he died. She remembers him, but she was really too young to remember him like that. They just had a beautiful ceremony where they named, in the military, when you go from E4 to E5, you go through some type of leadership training, and they have this thing called Airman Leadership Schools. And they named one of the Airman Leadership Schools in Washington after him, man. And I'm like, what a way to have a legacy, all right, for the daughter to say, that's my dad. You know what I'm saying? I want one "that's my dad" moment from my daughter before I leave this earth. Give me my roses while I'm still happy and alive.
I mean, I tell you what, you keep doing this crypto thing and it blows up, you'll be getting a lot of "that's my dad" on his yacht. That's my dad on his cruise liner. That's my dad in his private jet. You'll be getting a lot of those.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Well, hey, bro, thanks for coming on, man. Do you got anything else? That
check out Pop Culture Warrior Live Tuesdays, 8 p.m. On Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Even, God forbid, I have a TikTok. That's so stupid. But no, man. This is about you, man. I want you to know that I'm going to need you to clip the nice things I said about you, because that'll probably be the only time I publicly say anything nice about you. So hold that near and dear to your heart. Every time, I'm mean to you and you get sad, you can watch the clip of me saying nice things to you to make you feel better, okay?
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all. I will be doing that.
Because
Too
that
late now.
might be the one and only time I publicly say anything nice about you, King Smith. But I meant every word. I really did.
Rock on, man. Well, hey, thanks for taking the time to join in, brother, man. I appreciate you. You're a dad out there as well, and you got your family and stuff in the house and everything, but you took the time to check out my show and join
Absolutely.
in. So I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
All right,
Anytime.
brother.
See you later.
See ya. We had somebody join the show. That's cool. Look, it's easy to join. I put the link in the description on my Facebook page, on YouTube. Uh, and I wasn't sure if anybody was going to join. So the fact that CQ took that step, rock on. I appreciate the words. You know, he's grown up around my daughter. Him and his wife have been real kind to her and his family. And that doesn't go unnoticed. I kind of goofed the other day. They had a social, and his wife makes this thing called tres leches, which loosely translates to, I think, three milks. My Spanish is not great. And she makes some really good tres leches. They were having an event the other day, and he asked me if I was coming and if I wanted some. So I'm like, well, of course I'd want some. Yeah, it's the bomb.com. But his wife just doesn't make it all the time, and it's a process to make. Well, I showed up for the social, but I didn't stay that long. My daughter wasn't feeling too well because of her time of the month and everything, and they were about to start school, and some other stuff was going on, so she stayed home. And I went to make an appearance and whatnot, grabbed me some of that tres leches and left. And I got a pretty good quarter size. Uh, I believe I conveyed my thanks, but I got a text later that said, hey, just so you know, like she made that for you for your birthday. And also, you know, the fact that my daughter too was wanting some because I was originally going to say no to the invite because I'd already spent some time away from, Cal, so didn't want to spend a whole lot of time away from her. But they, when they had invited us over, Calson wanted to go because of the tres leches. That's how good it was. So that's why I shared that story of just how good and kind that their family is and everything, and that the wife made that for me and our daughter. And I wanted to say thanks publicly because we appreciate it. We ate it that night, and it was a big chunk, just me and her. So yeah, let's see. You got Juan said TMI. Hey man, it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. We're talking about life. We're talking about things. So we're coming up on an hour. And I typically like to keep my show under an hour. And I didn't expect it to last this long. I didn't expect it to go 1 hour because I was solo. I had a couple of key points that I wanted to talk about, some things that makes me nervous as a father of a young girl going into high school. I expected to maybe get about 30 minutes or so and be done, but I can talk. People know I can talk. And the fact that I actually did almost go to hour, okay, all right, I can do that. I didn't think that I could do it, and I can. So that's good to know. Because I'm going to have some future episodes that is just going to be me. All right. But I want to build up something that can provide some value to the people that are listening. So, one, him saying that he doesn't just give compliments just to give compliments, but him saying, hey, good show. He enjoyed it. Bro, I appreciate that. You've got two young kids, man, and you're going through it as far as guiding them and everything like that, man. So uh, you're right behind me. You're a little bit older, but you're right behind me. Next week, if my guest doesn't cancel on me, I'm going to have somebody coming on that has a pretty cool story. everybody has a cool story. In my opinion, everybody has a cool story. When I ask somebody how they're doing, I really want to know how you're doing. If you say, "Hey, man, I'm struggling right now, not really doing too good," um, then I might, if you're up for talking about it, I'll take the time to listen. That's just how I am. Somebody at the store the other day, when you walk into a store, I guess it's good customer service. So they say, "Hey, how you doing?" I will tell you how I'm doing right then and there. Man, I'm tired, or man, I'm hurting right now, or I'm fan fucking tastic. Uh, I don't just give a company line just to kind of give it out, if you will. Just to kind of go about my day. My assumption is, if you ask me, you might really want to know. Otherwise, don't ask. Hey, look, Juan said loss and change makes you stronger, bro. Absolutely. It does. And that's why I'm not afraid of my daughter making mistakes. I want her to live. I shared at the beginning of a thing that she said when me and her were talking about decisions. And I talked about that same the People's Court clip that I had showed her, you know. But one of the things that she understands, and I don't know where she got this from, because it really wasn't from me. Could have been her mom, could be stuff that she watches. But it's like, if you haven't made mistakes in life, have you really lived? All right. Mistakes are going to happen. And I understand that. And I've made a hell of a ton of mistakes. And I've lived and learned from them too. I've also been held accountable. That's the other part. I have been held accountable for most of the stupid things that I've done. And I'm thankful for that. I am thankful for being held accountable. I understand the importance of that. People that don't understand the importance of accountability, when real things hit them, they hit them a lot harder than folks that have gone through it and understands what it means to be accountable. I've got some family members that have done some other things that they were held accountable for, did their time, and are better people for it. My uncle that was on my second or third Chats with Dads episode, he's trying to have a thing where we get other men together and we talk about stuff as very real as we can, but he came on and talked about how he spent some time in jail, for selling drugs, and he was held accountable for that, and he learned from that, and he grew from that. He's made some really awesome networks and friends and stuff, since he's came out and have lived his life, and he's going through it now. He put up his life publicly, um, talked about his mistakes, and that's the best that we can do, man. So I hope that as my daughter enters high school next week, that she understands that she has my support. I am going to hold her accountable if she does something stupid. I know her mom is. We have two totally different parenting styles, but we both do have her best interest at heart as far as how we're trying to help guide her and holding her accountable for the choices and things that she makes in life. So that's my show for today. To the people that tuned in and watched, thank you. To the people that might tune in and catch the replay, I appreciate you as well. I will be back next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, hopefully with a guest this time, and we'll chop it up with the Chats with Dads. Until next time, peoples, peace.